Alright, so today we're going to be talking about one of the legends I'm most excited for in Spiritforged, Ezreal. I think Ezreal is one of the most interesting legends to come out of set 2, especially since he shares the same colors as my beloved Teemo. So we'll start by going over the list I've landed on and some of the card choices that went into it. Then I'll show you a ranked game I recorded versus Draven on the Runes and Rift ladder, so you can see the deck in action. If you enjoy in-depth Riftbound deck breakdowns and gameplay videos like this, consider subscribing. Anyways, let's jump into it. So for those of you that got baited by the title of this video, no, I'm not dropping Teemo for Ezreal. I do not think Ezreal is a better version of Teemo. They do very distinctly different things, even though they're the same color. But I do really enjoy Ezreal, and I think I've found a list that I'm more confident on and happy with compared to Teemo. Although I do have a few cooks and ideas with Teemo that I'm going to make videos on in the future, but yeah, so I wanted to make the Ezreal video first, because I feel more confidently about it. But so let's get into it. I'm going to explain the whole idea behind the deck, the significant card choices. I'm not going to take too long. I'm not going to go too in depth just because I want to also highlight some of the gameplay, which will probably just help answer more of your questions. So anyways, to start, we're on 4 Mind, 8 Chaos. For those of you who don't know what Ezreal does, his legend ability is draw 1, and you can only use it if you've chosen enemy units and or gear twice this turn with spells or unit abilities. So similarly to Dreaming Tree, chosen is different from play spells. So like, for example, if your spells get defied or countered, for example, but you've still chosen the enemy units or gears, you'd still be able to proc the Ezreal legend. So keep that in mind. You still get your draws even if your spells get countered or anything like that. So, all right. So what is the idea of this deck? Well, the main idea, there's a few main ideas. It's not just one main idea. Obviously, we have a lot of trash synergy with Zon Warrens and Minefields. We're definitely trying to play Rassas. Because we draw so many cards, we can pretty consistently cycle through our deck and find like 2 to 3 copies of Rasa in the mid game, which gives us a pretty strong board. And yeah, you're just kind of trying to cycle and play big guys and overwhelm your opponent, kind of. So I'll get into the specific cards. So we're running 1 copy of Purple Ezreal. I tested going 2 to 3 copies of this, and I found it to be pretty good, but I didn't feel like we needed the extra card draw that much. We're already seeing so many cards, so I went to cut it down to 1. Same thing with Called Shot. I was initially on 3, and I was like, wow, this card's crazy. You know, really good synergy with seals, but once again, it was just like, we don't need more of these, and there's just better uses for our deck slots. So I'm only on 1. It's good to replay with Fizz sometimes, especially if you have Ezreal on the board. It just becomes like almost free, right? We're running 3 seals, so these are really important. The deck is super power heavy, with things like multiple copies of Rebuke, Arcane Shift, Fizz, Ezreal, Mind Splitters, Rasa. There's so many purple power costs that these seals are super important. They also synergize heavily with cards like Drop Order, which I'll get into later. But yeah, just super important. It's really good if we can see 1 to 2 of these really early. Pretty much makes it so we can curve really well later on and still play high power cost units. And usually, like, I'm not a huge fan of seals, but because we draw so many cards, it's totally fine to basically just sack a card for power. A lot of decks can't afford to do that because they'll just run out of cards, but we have just so much card draw that we don't have to worry about that. So 2 stack deck. I like stack deck. I think, honestly, this could maybe be 1 stack deck and 2 Called Shot. I'm not sure about the ratio between these cards, but they're basically the same card. Stack deck just being like kind of more flexible. Usually 1 energy is easier to pay than the power, but like if we're in the mid to late game, then this will have seals to pay for a Called Shot. So yeah, I'm not sure about these ratios, but just a good, generically good consistency card. 3 Stupefy. Pretty self-explanatory again, like just synergize with our legend. Really good early to mid game to even out the might numbers in some battles. Synergize heavily with Gust as well as Windsinger. So yeah, just super good card. So we're on 2 copies of Gust. I think this card is really strong. I was on 3. I think I should be on 3 to be honest, but I just wanted to make room for other cards. But this card is really insane. It synergizes heavily with, Stupefy, Frigid Touch, as I mentioned before. But it's also really good into a lot of the tough matchups. It's true, like sometimes they can buff their units out of range, especially now with like the long sword and spinning axes being like reaction speed. But sometimes it's good to bait them out, or sometimes you can gust in reaction to them playing attaching those to their units. So yeah, the first 2-drop we'll talk about is Traveling Merchant. This guy is like the MVP of this deck. Not only do we just get to cycle and see more of our deck, but being able to trash cards to synergize with Rasa, as well as Fizz, right, is just insanely good. There aren't a lot of ways to put things in our trash in this, like, besides for like our battlefields, like Minefields and Warrens. It's only Ezreal and Merchant, but being able to trash some of these spells that we can replay with Fizz, especially things like Arcane Shift, right? Because like if you play Arcane Shift, it gets banished. So you can't actually synergize with Fizz unless you discard it, right? So discarding Arcane Shift to play with Fizz is one of the most insane things you can do with this deck. So just having a card to do that is really good. Frigid Touch, super good card, especially if you have purple Ezreal on the field. Having the repeat cost be discounted to 1 is super insane. And yeah, you can synergize with Gust and Windsinger, and you can just win a lot of combats with small units because of cards like Frigid Touch. So for the rest of the 2-drops, I'm on Treasure Hunter and Windsinger. So initially I was on, like, I knew Merchant and Treasure Hunter were going to be 6 2-drops that I'm going to play for sure, but I wanted at least 7 to 8 2-drops just for more turn 1 consistency. So I think Windsinger is the next best one. Obviously you don't want to play it on turn 1 if you have a better 2-drop, but it's very flexible in a sense where you can pretty much play it as a Gust if you top deck a late game, so it's very useful in a lot of cases, right? But yeah, it's definitely not one of the 2-drops you want to start with, but if you have no other option, then it's there. Treasure Hunter is pretty self-explanatory. It's one of the best cards in Spiritforged. Being able to generate gold with the Treasure Hunter is insane. Sometimes it sucks, like especially first Draven, if you move your Treasure Hunter in and then they just kill it with their like better statted 2-drop, you draw them a card. So that's like one case where it's not as good. Sometimes you don't even move it in, but otherwise it's really insane. Rebuke is another insane purple card. I'm pretty sure this is going to be like at least 1 to 2 copies in every purple deck going forward. The fact that we get so much gold in Spiritforged makes Rebuke so much better. And also with the surgence of cards like Ferris Forerunner, or just, cards that are really sticky and hard to deal with, like Rebuke just becomes so good. So we have 2, we have 2 in main board, and then we also have 1 inside, I believe. So, all right. One of the best cards in this deck, Arcane Shift. So for those of you who don't know what this card does, you choose a friendly unit, banish it, deal 3 damage to an enemy unit at a battlefield, and then you replay the unit that you banished. So it's a mouthful, but this has really good synergy with cards like your Ezreal, right? You replay Ezreal, you discard 1 and draw 2. Also has really good synergy with Fizz. You play Fizz again, and you play another spell. Especially if you have Arcane Shift in your discard, you can play Fizz, replay Arcane Shift from your discard, play Fizz again, and play another spell from your discard, right? If you have 2 Arcane Shifts, you can just go like Fizz, double Arcane Shift into another spell, and just like delete something out of battlefield pretty easily, right? That's like 6 damage. So yeah, it's a super good card. You want to discard it early most of the time because of its synergy with Fizz. It is a lot better being played from the discard than played from hand, to be honest, since you don't have to pay the 3 energy. So they're one of the better cards and MVPs of this deck for sure. Alright, well, speaking of Fizz, Fizz is another really insane card in purple. So I don't know if you guys can notice, but we're just kind of playing a lot of the really good cards that purple and blue got in this set. So yeah, we're playing 3 copies of Fizz. Really good synergy with Arcane Shifts, Rebuke even. Or worst case scenario, you can just replay like a stack deck, Called Shot, draw some cards. There's just a lot of use cases with Fizz, and he's definitely one of the highest value cards in this deck and in this set in general. So, alright, on to the next card. This card is a bit unconventional, and I honestly am not seeing any decks really run it, which I'm confused about because it is one of the most insane cards for blue-purple. So it's called Drop Order. When you play me, if you control 2 or more gear, ready me. So this is effectively a no power cost, 4 might, 4 energy accelerate unit. And considering this is in purple, or sorry, considering this is in blue, which lacks accelerate units, right? This card is just insane. In set 1, for example, when I was building Teemo, I was like, man, I really wish we had more proactive units, right? And I'm like looking at the accelerate options we had, and it was like Blue Echo, Thousand Tail Watcher. Like that was like literally it. Like this drop order card fills in such a good niche for these blue-purple decks, especially that just have no good accelerate options. The fact that there's no power cost associated with this is just insane. So worst case scenario, you can play it on curve and you just play a 4 might unit. Otherwise, you know, this mid game, like most of the time you're going to have at least, you know, 1 or 2 seals and like 1 or 2 gold. So this is just going to be an accelerated unit and it just catches a lot of people off guard. And the fact that this is 4 might means it doesn't die to things like Falling Star, Hextech Ray, you know, any other 3 might removal. Like it doesn't get gusted. So it's just a really solid card. It'll depend on the meta as well, but just having an option to play an accelerate unit has won me so many games, even in like the final turns of the game, right? Like being able to score your 8th point with an accelerated unit from hand, like when people don't expect it from Ezreal, is just really good. All right, next up we have Singularity. So also a really good card. It kind of, once again, depends on the meta, how good this card will be, but people say it's good versus Draven. I think it's pretty good versus Draven. Sometimes it's unfortunate if they play their equipment and they have like Fight or Flight, they can save their units. But otherwise, I think it is pretty good. It kind of sucks that it has blue power cost since we are playing purple seals. We generally just have to recycle runes to play Singularity, but yeah, I think it's just too good of a card to not include. So I think 1 or 2 copies is probably necessary. Maybe I could shift these ratios around a little bit more, but for sure a solid card. All right, next up is Mind Splitter. So this card is one of the better top end options for Ezreal. The power cost is pretty negligible because we have our seals, and in a lot of matchups, being able to rip cards from our opponent's hand is just devastating. It's also a pretty heavily sized unit, which is nice. Another big synergy with this deck is if you could arcane shift the Mind Splitter, you can just continuously rip cards from your opponent's hand, which is pretty insane if it happens. Otherwise, I tend to side this out in some matchups. Like I think in the Draven matchup, I should have sided this out more because Draven just draws so many cards that ripping 1 card from their hand doesn't really do that much. So yeah, otherwise in a lot of other matchups, I think Mind Splitter is really good. All right, lastly, one of the most core cards of our deck is Rasa. So because we get to see so many cards from our deck and we're constantly discarding cards with Ezreal, Merchants, and our battlefields, we get Rasa to a really cheap and playable cost on like turn 4. Anywhere from like turn 3 to 5, I think you can get Rasa to be pretty playable. You know, within the range of like 2 to 4 energy. Yeah, this card is really good. Some of the use cases are like you could just conquer a battlefield with one of your smaller units and then slam 1 to 2 of these guys down to deny your opponent from like conquering it next turn, right? Because, you know, more aggressive decks usually can't swing over like 12 might, right? Which is 2 Rasas. So otherwise, you can just play him in base and use him to swing the game on the next turn. It's also really good. But yeah, really good synergy with our discards. And it's one of the main ways we actually have board presence in a lot of matchups, right? Like in Riftbound, you kind of need units to win the game, unless you're playing like Control Victor, right? But we don't have as much removal in blue-purple as we do in blue-yellow, so we can't really just do that, right? We actually need units to win the game. So onto the sideboard. The sideboard is pretty unrefined, to be honest, but I had retreats in here for like the Kai'Sa matchup. Hasn't come up yet. I haven't played versus Kai'Sa yet, so I don't know if these should even be in here. Hard Bargain is kind of the same reason, like playing as Kai'Sa or like the Spell Victor maybe, like you do this on a Singularity, it's pretty good. Switcheroo is probably one of the most underrated cards, honestly. When I've sided this in, it's done so much work, especially considering we play so many small units, right? Like these Treasure Hunters, being able to like swap a Darius, right? For example, that comes up in, I think, the Match will Showcase. or even the Windsingers or the Merchants, right? They're just all so tiny. So Switcheroo gets a lot of value, even if you don't hide it, right? Like, you're going to have your purple seals, so the power cost is pretty negligible. So it's just a really solid card, and this might go into the main deck, to be honest. Our third copy of Rebuke is here as well. Honestly, I think my main deck might just go to 3 copies of Rebuke. This card is just so good. And I have 2 card sharps here for when we go second. Card sharp is just it's a really solid card. I just had trouble fitting it in because I felt like we had pretty necessary early game units, but if you're going second, this is definitely a good card to put in. If you've liked the video so far, consider subscribing, as I'll be uploading Riftbound content just like this every week. Now let's jump into the game. Okay, so we're going first this game. So sideboard is a bit easier. We don't need these card sharps anymore. I think Switcheroo is pretty strong. Rebuke is first going in, Switcheroo is going in, and I want to put Hard Bargain in too. I just don't know what to drop. I really like the Gusts. But maybe they're really not as good as I think they are. Let's just take them out. Let's get rid of him. Honestly, let's just get rid of a Mind Splitter. Everyone's gonna have so many cards anyways, most of the time. As reverse. Okay. Again. Oh wow. That's pretty good. Honestly, let's go with that. I don't know if I want to keep 2 seals. I guess they pay for each other and I have the called shot. Sure, let's just do this. Oh my god. Alright. Oh. I drew 1 extra. Okay, thank you. I'll reveal. So, do those now. Okay. Yeah, man, I think I just have to... No. I think I just have to pass here. It's like too troll to play. It's like too troll to play the seal on turn 1, I think. I think I just have to pass. Ugh. It's like I want to play it with... Okay, he misses drop as well. That's pretty funny. Okay, I guess I can play drop border now? Wow, what an interesting scenario here. Okay, let's do float 1 for the seal. Then we tap the seal to play the seal. And then I think we play Ezreal. I think we just tap the seal. Yeah, let's just play Ezreal. I want to discard like my other seal, honestly. It's just so useless. I'm probably not going to need 3 seals this game. I'll just get rid of the Arcane Shift for the Fizz synergy. I'll just pass here. That's fine. Maybe 3 seals is good. I'm gonna draw a lot of cards with Cold Shot, so. Is Kaisa here? Sure. Okay, let's tap seal to play Cold Shot repeated. Okay. Stupefy Merchant. Okay, let's grab Stupefy. Merchant on the bottom. 2 more. Rebuke Singularity. I mean, Rebuke is almost free with my runes, so, or with my seals, so yeah, we'll just take the Rebuke. Yeah, sadly there's... I want to draw like a Gust or something here. That would be nice, but I took them out, so not really an option anymore. Let's move into here. He's gonna take the defense trigger though, most likely. I mean, maybe he doesn't. Reverse. Maybe he does not. Okay, he takes reverse. We go to 1. We can just keep runes open as well for next turn. Alright, let's just tap seal, play a seal. Next turn, if I keep 3 open, I can play Stupefy plus Rebuke. Or Frigid Touch itself. Sure, let's just do that. Yeah, let's just keep 3 open. -5 is pretty significant. Get blown up by Longsword. I'll decline. Sure. Stupefy. I'll start Stupefy. It's a little greedy, but I might need a Rebuke here. Because like I can get blown out by like if I just Fighter Flights it. Yeah, I think Fighter Flight is fine. Yeah, if he plays Hard Bargain, it's a little unlucky, but it's fine. Okay, don't draw from Ezreal, because he hard bargained it. Cannon base. Okay. I mean, I just have free rebukes now. And I can just replay them again with Fizz. This is interesting. Just move here. Discard one of these. Another rebuke, okay. Okay, go to 2. Yeah, I think I just do it. I think I just send in Ezreal again. Go to 3, and I think I just leave 2 open once more to play. Maybe play another rebuke. As it goes here. Raven, blue. Okay, this goes to hand. I'm down to just... I'm down to rebuke it again, honestly. Am I? Maybe I'm not. I can maybe kill it next turn with some of my spells here. I guess I draw 2 though. That's fine. Do I want to take Reavers? I don't think I do. Fine. Like, Spinning Axe doesn't even do it. I can just play Frigid Touch. Cleave. I guess this plus Spinning Axe would do it. I kind of forgot Cleave was a card. Thinking on my action here. If I rebuke it, then I go to 7 runes next turn, which is still enough to do some shenanigans here. Maybe I just play Frigid Touch and make him... If I play Frigid Touch and make him use another card to conquer... Ugh. I should have just taken the retreat trigger. So greedy for no reason. I'll just rebuke it, whatever. This is probably a mistake, but you live and you learn. And here, and he's gonna hide. Okay. Hold to 4. He's tapped out. I want to shift my Ezreal and do 3 to the Kaisa, and then maybe try to hit it with a Frigid Touch. Let's see. Because if he has Fight or Flight now, then it makes him play it right now. Okay, yeah, he just plays it now. Okay. And I get my Ezreal draw still, so this gets banished. Discard. I can discard Switcheroo. Draw 2. Now I can hide Switcheroo, which is interesting. Yeah. We're gonna play Drop Border, comes in ready. We go in here with him, and then he's gonna send it back. And he's gonna get the Raven Bloom trigger. Yada yada. I'm gonna remind him about it if he wants to do it. Then I'll just move here. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I scored. I'll move the Hunter here to make a gold, and then I'm gonna hide Switcheroo here. And just pass. I'm moving the Hunter here specifically to play with Switcheroo. Doesn't have such a weak unit here. It gives the Switcheroo a lot of value. Deck. Oh. Terrible feeling. Darius comes in at 7. Okay, I'll do Raven Bloom. Goes to bottom. I guess he could hard bargain the Switcheroo, which kind of sucks. focus. Assume so. Gonna just hope he wasn't playing around it for some reason. Okay. That resolves. It's a pretty brutal turn, honestly. They didn't hard bargain it. Spinning axe. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, and then you can re-equip the Kaisa. Oh, Draven is balanced, guys. Oh. Thinking. Yeah. Oh, I forgot I'm at 7. Pretty good. Take it. Yeah, that's fine. Hit a card. All right. Hold to 6. This guy is back to being a one my guy. And let's see here. So I have a couple of options. I can just play the Frigid Touch repeated to draw some cards. I guess I can just send in the drop border first before that. I can give it up to -8 this turn. And then they're only going to have... Yeah, you know what? Let's send the Ezreal in. You know. Reavers. Okay. So I'm assuming that's Edge of Night if that's the case. Maybe it's a switcheroo as well. Repeated. Butterfly my Ezreal. In reaction. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. It's a -1. Yeah. Showdown resolves. You can draw. I mean, here I'm tempted to just... I can draw border to Reavers to force the Kaisa back and go to 7, but... I mean, that is pretty good. That is pretty good. It means he needs to play an Accelerate unit next turn. Yeah, that's pretty good. Sorry, tap 4. Takes Reavers. Okay, go to 7. Yeah, I think I just pass here. Honestly, I don't care if he draws a card that much from Ravenbloom. I'll just pass. Yeah, I think here... There's a 6 here. Draws 2 more cards. I mean, I guess if he just plays Ride the Wind, it's kind of annoying, but I have the point lead. Falling Star. Those 2. Sure. Not much I can really do about that. Plays Fan and passes. Drop order is a really good draw here. I think I need to draw with Ezreal before I do anything else. I can also just draw with drop order at Ravenbloom. Let's do that actually. Let's go here. Okay. Draw, stack deck. Yep, we're playing stack deck. Assume he's letting us happen. Didn't say anything. Okay, Windsinger, now we're talking. Yeah, we definitely want that. So now we can Windsinger the fan. And then if the fan goes back to hand, then we can play drop order, double Frigid Touch, Stupefy, Kaisa. We have runes for that. 6. We have perfect runes for that. Kaisa goes to -5. 1 pump would do it. Like alternatively, I could go double Frigid Touch Kaisa, but then he just uses a pump on the Kaisa, and then yeah, let's try this first. Windsinger this guy. Because now if he uses a pump on the fan, I can like Frigid Touch or Stupefy it. Let's start off with Stupefy. Maybe we draw like something else. Okay. That resolves. And then we tap Ezreal. Draw 1. Okay, now we have Rasa. Now we can just we could just put a fat amount of guys on Ravenbloom here. That might just be better than trying to like swing into this Kaisa this turn. We can put Kaisa to 2. Yeah, but then an axe, spinning axe would just do us in. Okay. Let's just do that. Tap 4 for drop order. Tap a seal for Rasa. Pass. So he has to swing over. What is that? 14 might, and he has to move the Kaisa somehow. It's pretty hard. I don't think he can do it. And I have Frigid Touch in my hand as well. Okay, he does that. It's fine. Have it, I have it. Rebuke. Ravenbloom. Yeah, something I can only just play the. Actually, I can't even repeat this. Oh my god, okay. This is 8 might Tide Turner. Can I beat an 8 might Tide Turner? Well, I don't think I can win this turn. Man, play Arcane Shift. Doesn't do anything. I mean, I can Arcane Shift and Rebuke to draw an extra card with Ezreal. I think that's fine. I mean, I think we go here first. Okay, draw from that. Another Windsinger. Yeah, I think we just go Fizz. And then we're gonna play Rebuke. GG. Okay, he said GG. Nice, we got it, let's go. Yeah, overall, this deck felt pretty good. I definitely should have kept in the Gus. I think being able to react to, like, if they play their axe, like I can react with Frigid Touch, you know, stuff like that. So I think the Gus is definitely good. I'm not sure what to drop. I think the drop borders, like, they kind of came in clutch this last game, but they were dead cards a lot of the times for the other game, so maybe it's not as good in this matchup, so maybe I could have sided those out. The Mind Splitters as well. I mean, Draven's just going to have, like, so many cards that removing one of their cards probably isn't that good, so I probably should have sided out my Mind Splitters. But yeah, otherwise, pretty close games. I definitely messed up a lot, and I'm still learning, but Ezreal for sure has a lot of potential in the next set, and I think he's super underexplored, so yeah.